Agishwaraya Vai Namaha Bhumananda Swarupaya Shri Loknathaya Namo Namaha Om Gurur Madhya Sthita Mata Matri Madhya Sthito Guru Gurur Mata Nam Namastestu Matri Gurur Namamyaham Na Guru Radhikam Na Guru Radhikam Na Guru Radhikam Guru Kripa Hi Kevalam Guru Kripa Hi Kevalam Guru Kripa Hi Kevalam. Today we are going to continue with our discussion on the first yama and the first principle, the doctrine, which the sage, seer, and the true scientist of life, Rishi Patanjali, had laid down for all of humanity, irrespective of any religious traditions, beliefs or non-beliefs. This particular topic is not religious. This entire discussion that we are doing has nothing to do with religion per se. It is absolutely open discussion on the openness of all of humanity taken as one family. And if there is any desire on the part of a true seer, is to only see that the family stands united in its purpose for which the family has come into existence. If I see the whole of humanity, all these billions of 7 to 8 billions of people all over the world, with all geographic borders and barriers, with different cultures, different languages and dialects, different religions, different faiths, different beliefs, different non-beliefs. But deep inside, I have traveled to a large number of countries and I have seen humans and their emotions, humans and their inner urge, their innate inclinations, instincts, intuitions, they are very, very similar. Color of skin or the culture, the faith of any religion or belief in something else as a philosophy, acceptance or rejection. Beyond, past these, I want all of you to just come to this point that seers and sages of India, not India, Bharat, seers and sages of Bharat, they realized that highest wisdom, which is always trans all religious faiths and dogmas and beliefs, because what they realized as wisdom was beyond beliefs. So when Rishi Patanjali talks about Ahimsa as the first practice of our day-to-day life, in order to one day, I have always repeated these words to you time and again, tan sadhan tan siddhi, which means that which is your practice today is a perfection tomorrow. Whatever we practice today and whatever we repeat and repeat and repeat in spite of all our mistakes, in spite of all our failings, in spite of all our efforts meeting with failures, but still if we can persist, if we can pursue it further, if you can move forward with it, a time comes when this same sadhan, tan sadhan, that practice, one day repeated over a period of time with love, devotion and commitment and dedication, would positively turn out to be a perfected stage or a perfect state of mind, or the pure luminous mind. So if Patanjali Rishi is telling us all that we all as practitioners of yoga, along with what we do on the mat, along with what we do with our twists and turns of our body, stretches, or with what we do with our breathing, our breaths, along with all of this, if we do not practice certain fundamental practices of daily life, which I have put it time and again I put it today, Dincharya, how you spend your day from morning till night, today. And if you find that you could not do certain things well enough, you always have the opportunity for the next day to repeat and try to do little better. This is the entire growth process. This is how we gradually go to the stage of a matured mind, a matured wisdom, to become wise. Ahimsa. The question comes, do you think it is possible in today's world to really practice ahimsa, that is non-violence? Because non-violence in its essence is to be understood properly, in its proper perspective. What is non-violence? Non-violence is that I have to be very conscious about one thing. I have to be very mindful. I have to be awake. About what? I need to be awake about one thing, that by any reason I should not become involved into any words, any thoughts in my mind, or any actions and deeds of my life by which the environment, Prakriti, the universe, the world, the society, the community could be hurt. Number one. Number two, all of them with whom I come in contact in my day-to-day life, either in my family life or at my work life or in my societal life, wherever I am, if I am in relationships, how I am conducting myself. Am I conscious enough to make sure that nothing hurts another person? Am I awake enough to make sure that it doesn't ever cause any pain and suffering to anyone who comes in contact with me, either by verbal words or by my thoughts or by my actions? Is it possible at all in today's world, which is filled with so much of negativity? It is absolutely, if you take it from that point of view, it's absolutely impossible. Like if anybody says, I'm a perfectionist and I want to do everything to the perfection, I'll say, sorry, you are talking about a myth. You can't be perfect. You are targeting something impossible and it will never happen. Perfection is impossible because the world itself is imperfect. Matter itself is imperfect. Your body itself is imperfect. Everything that you can talk of is imperfect. So you can be good at running, you can be good at cooking, you can be good in teaching, you can be good at anything, but don't claim that you are perfect. Nor do you become obsessed that it has to be perfect. And if it is not perfect, I am upset. I just can't take it. It's a disease. It's an illness of mind. any point of time. The very fact that you are going to lose the balance and poise and peace of your mind itself is the worst imperfection that you can think of, talk of, or even imagine of. So also I would say a bit of violence is inevitable in life. Conclusion and period. Without violence, you cannot survive in this planet. Now the question comes, if it is true that a bit of violence is inevitable in life, then the question will come, then why it is says, Ahimsa paramo dharmaha? Why it is said that all the dharmas on one side and Ahimsa on one side? What is this then? Why Ahimsa has been given such a big space? Why all the religions talk so big about it? Why it's glorified so big? It's glorified so big only because no one is happy to be hurt. You will not be happy if somebody hurts you, for sure. If you have a pet in your home, I'm sure you are not going to hurt the pet, your pet. If you have a baby in your home, I'm sure you're not going to hurt the baby. If your old parents are in your home, I'm sure you'll not be happy if somebody causes pain and suffering to your old parents. Anyone you love in this world, if he or she is ill-treated, mistreated, hurt, and rudely behaved with, you can be rest assured you can't be happy. And this is a part of violence. Today I want to bring a very important aspect which possibly I couldn't touch upon the other day that I was talking about this non-violence as one of the yamas of Rishi Patanjali. I want to say one thing, and that is, it is one thing that you are now very mindful that you don't hurt others with your words, with your deeds, or with your thoughts. This is one practice. Good. Good. The second thing that really brings a very profound aspect of non-violence is, it is one thing not to cause damage to others, not to cause hurt to others, not to cause pain to others, but imagine and think how much hurt, pain and suffering one causes to one's own self. I mean, imagine if I go to a college or high schools and in a class of about 100 students, I just say, tell me how many of you have never caused any pain to your own self? You have not hurt yourself. Or how many of you have not attempted for a suicide? Successful or unsuccessful? How many of you have almost had reached a point where you are going to be extremely violent? Not on others, on your own self. How many of you, because of some relation issues, have possibly with a knife cut your wrist, stitches after stitches? How many people have done such inflicting injury to one's own self? This is violence. This is not violence to others. This is not killing others. This is not cutting or slitting somebody's wrists. People do it to their own self. To me, in this world, if there is one issue that really bothers me to my core today, is this. And when I look forward 10 years from now, it shudders me to think of the level of mental illness that will be pandemic all over the world. You are able to find some vaccination for COVID. What vaccination you will find for your mental illness cases in the world? Those who are continuously thinking possibly of a suicide as the only way to escape this horrible, traumatic, negative world and the people with which people are forced to live with. Families after families. Don't you think I'm really trying to bring something very deep and at the same time a truth, a reality? Otherwise you can just ask yourself, how can a country like India or Bharat with such legacy of spiritual heritage, how that country could have within a span of hardly 70 plus years of independence and seeing a lot of foreign goods, services, technology and everything at the fingerprint point available. So much money, so much prosperity. But what it has created in this particular country, and to what extent? Imagine depression as a mental illness have spread all over the country to an extent that it is one of the highest incidents in the world. It's unimaginable. It's just unimaginable. I'm not trying to predict gloom. I'm not trying to say that I'm just seeing doom around. No, this is not true. I'm just trying to find out that what went wrong. If the wisest of the wise rishis of this particular nation, from time immemorial, if they have laid out these beautiful principles that govern the universe, it's not only humans that govern the universe. Ahimsa, Satya, Astya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha, 5 yamas. These are principles which govern the universe, not just individual sadhakas or sadhikas. It's for everybody. It's the whole universe. Why we have come to this plight? Why there is this widespread mental agony and trauma and emotional breakups? Why people are suffering so much emotionally today? Why they are not able to manage the manifestations of their ego self? I want to give a very quick clarification to this word. When I say ego, please don't try to understand. I'm talking about your pride. When I'm talking about ego, I'm not talking of anything that you associate ego with in your life. I'm not talking any one of them. So please don't misunderstand me when I use the word ego. Ego has nothing to do with what you think Baba is talking about. Baba is not talking about any one thing that you may be thinking that Baba is referring to as your ego or somebody's ego. To Baba, ego is very simple. Separation from God. Separation from truth. Separation from the ultimate wisdom. Separation from totality of the universe. No longer holy, no longer whole. Obviously, if I am not the whole, I cannot be holy either. And if I am not holy, I am not in tune with the universal, beautiful rhythm of the melody. That which separates me from the rest of the universe and that which makes me worry about myself. How can I survive in this world with so much of competition, so much of this, so much of that? How am I to go on a daily basis with all this tests and troubles and traumas and tribulations? How am I to steer through all this? Whose word are you talking about? Whom are you referring? I? Did you ever ask yourself who this I is? Did you ever think who the I is who is suffering so much? Who is asking for a better world, asking for a better family, asking for a better relationship, asking for a better spouse, better children, better home, better thing? Who is this? Who feels deprived? Who feels hurt? Who feels very violently treated, mistreated? Who? Ego is nothing but a separator. That's all I understand. I have nothing to do with anybody's pride or how proud somebody is and how bragging and highbrow somebody is. I have nothing to do with it. That's his case. That's his karma. Her karma. What am I to do with it? I am only understanding the very root of the ego, where it all starts. It starts with my sense of separation from God. The very fact that I am an individual and not universal itself is agony, is suffering, is pain, because it is a lie, because it is untruth, because it is not true. I am not separate, but yet I am thinking I am separate. Yet I am thinking I have not been given my due respect or my due attention or whatever I deserved. I. Who this I is? The separated individual. The separated individual. This separated individual is the ego. All violence in the world, all Ahimsa in the world is perpetrated moment to moment all over the world because of this separation. The moment the separation is gone, Ahimsa instantly dissolves. Ahimsa is not something to be attained. It is the natural state of your soul. As individual, you can never ever avoid violence. People have asked me if I have to kill some insects. Ridiculous. You have no idea what are the spectrum of violence that is committed by you in unconscious state of your mind, because you are separated individual founded on illusion that you are an individual, which is not true. That illusion itself is a violence, is a root of violence. As long as that is there, one after the other, the violence will erupt out of that. Until that root is taken care, that means your separated self, until and unless you allow this separated self to be gradually offered in the altar of the divine, which is whole, holy and totality existence. If I don't offer to the divine, my individual to the divine, there's a whole concept of bhakti yoga. Until unless I sit and watch my mind playing havoc inside, but still I don't get attached to the mind, and I try to meditate upon it and allow the mind to gradually get distilled and cleansed and clarified and purified. After 20 years, I reach a point suddenly where the mind stills down. The moment the mind stills down, all violence is stopped. The moment the mind gets back to its root, that is luminous mind, not this conditioned mind which always thinks, I have not been given enough. I am not treated properly in this world. I am not. Who is this I am? Not will take care tomorrow. Who is this I am? No answer. No answer. Nobody's even bothered for the answer. Sorry, I have seen all over the world. Nobody even bothers to find an answer. Everybody is bothered about what he has given to the world and what the world has given to him. What he has done for God or his Guru, and what God and Guru has done to him or her. That is the whole world of thought process around, which again, as I say, can only come out of a separated individual. It cannot come from our innermost core of our being, which is one with the existence, which is one with the divine, which is one with God. The moment we come closer and closer to the light, all this very mind thinking that I am not given my due respect, or I have to do this to somebody, I have to do that to somebody. All of the violent thoughts, all of the jealousies and the negative emotions, everything that always churn in the mind, they will gradually lose all its need for us. We will not need it because they are not needed. But we are surrounded by all kinds of forces, diabolic, hostile, pathetically monstrous negative forces from around. Question comes, how do I stay blessed, thinking that I don't want to commit any violence to anybody, I don't want to hurt anybody, or that I must be sure that I have no ego in it. You have ego till death if you are not realized who you are. Till the last breath of your life, you will have ego. If you have not realized that you are not a part, you are not a wave in the ocean, you are not that froth or a bubble in the ocean, you are not that separate wave, you are the ocean. Till that realization comes that there is a water inside a pot, and you take that pot, earthen pot, you take that earthen pot to the ocean, and you put that pot inside the ocean, and the pot fills up. The water inside the pot can definitely be said as water in the pot. But to the wise, to the eyes and wisdom of the wise, what the wise one will see, that the water inside the pot and the water outside the pot is both ocean. But no, for an individual, for a person who has not reached to that enlightened conscious state, for a person who has not been completely washed clean from inside of all complaints and complexities of conditioned mind, until that stage of absolute purity and luminosity of mind is reached, the pot is separate, the water is separate. Now with anything you break the pot, with anything, one stroke, you break that earthen pot, it just falls apart. Can you break that water that was there and you were telling that it is a pot water? Because instantly, the moment the pot is broken, instantly what happens is that the water doesn't anymore remain the pot water. It becomes ocean. No longer a part of our ocean. It is ocean. So also, this body is a pot. This body is a pot. This mind is a pot. This intelligence with which we are conceptualizing, understanding, imagining, talking, this is the pot. And the consciousness that we have in this pot is individual consciousness with which we go to bed and wake up in the morning. Repeat the same thing, go to bed and wake up in the morning. We carry on as long as we have breaths. Then we go, we live this world, individual, a pot water. This body is thus a pot. Only when you practice yoga as your lifelong journey to ultimately reach to the point where you will realize that you are not the pot, but you are the water, which is ocean. So then your body remains, but you are no longer identified with your body. Your body remains. Jivan Muktas, like all the saints and sages whose names you know. I don't have to take their names. You know the names of seers and sages from around the world, coming from every faith traditions and religions. What did they realize? They realized during their lifetime in the body, they realized they are not the body. They realized one thing, that they are not the body, but they are the self within. And that self and the universe is one and the same. As a result, all need for violence is finished. All talk on violence is finished. And even if that person goes to a jungle, even if that person is established in Ahimsa, according to the Rishi Patanjali, he says one who is established in Ahimsa, no animals will ever do any harm to that person, because any animal, even the wildest of animal, if they come in touch or in the presence of such a person who is established deep into Ahimsa, that person will emit such vibrations around wherever he or she is, that even the wildest animal will just come and get absolutely tamed and silent and quiet. We have umpteen examples of this miraculous happening all over the world. Read the lives of great sages and saints of India. You'll find that it had happened to almost many. Established in Ahimsa, no one else around you will come to do you any hurt anymore. And even if by chance anyone tries to do it, when Buddha is walking through the jungle, the robber Angulimal comes, he kills everybody and takes a finger, and that he puts in his necklace. He keeps on adding that fingers. Angulimala, mala means the necklace, the garland of fingers. Angulimal sees that Buddha is passing through that road, and he knows the only thing that can happen is that I'll kill and see whatever I can get out of that man. So he runs to do that. And the moment he comes near Buddha, established in Ahimsa, the moment he comes, he stops. The energy, the aura, and the energy of this robber, or that dacoit, or that killer comes. But this energy is much higher. This energy is much lower. So it comes and stops, it stumbles. Buddha says, what do you want of me? He says, look, I'm a killer. This is what I do. I rob people. I kill them and rob people. But Buddha's eyes are free of any fear. Everybody else he has faced so far in his lifetime, killing so many people, always the moment he stood before that person freezed out of fear. Because it was almost like the person felt, I am standing before the very death himself. The person shrinks out of fear. But this is the first time Angulimal comes in front of a person whose whole body is no trace of any fear, and rather the whole body is radiating light of compassion and love. It was a new experience for that. A person who had only known how to kill and how to rob. The eyes were filled with love. No fear. Established in Ahimsa. The moment anyone gets established in true Ahimsa, universal consciousness is there. Individual ahankara is no longer there. So as long as you have ahankara, you will have all the shades and colors of emotions of negative and positive in your life. If even for a minute you feel not very comfortable, not very happy about anything, anyone, either belonging to the past or the present or the future, whatever could it be, the very fact that you feel not so happy, you can be rest assured your ego is torturing you. And this ego is not your pride. This ego is your sense of separation. You are not universal. You are not one. You are not with God. By God, I mean that which was in the eyes of Buddha, that is God. Pure love, no fear. God is not about all the gods that we are worshipping. God is the very, very embodiment of that ultimate ahimsa, where there is pure love, pure compassion. Unconditional. There is no condition for it. Angulimal stops. Buddha says, you can kill me, no problem. But what would you get out of this? You have killed so many. What have you got out of this? Don't do this anymore. This himsa is not going to take you anywhere other than you are doing such a bad karma day in, day out. A day will come when you will repent and repent and repent, and possibly all these people's pain, agony, they will all be united and fall upon you, and you will die a miserable death. Is that a good thing to do for you? But because this is coming from the mouth of Buddha, established in dharma, established in ahimsa, established in satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha yamas, because one who is established in any one of this, when that person talks from his mouth or her mouth, they are not the same words talked by hundreds of others, the same words, but will have a complete different meaning. When a saintly, holy person with an universal consciousness, when he or she tells anything to you, you feel different. You feel instantly connected, as if he's whispering into your very heart. He's talking to your heart. If others talk, you feel he's talking to my intelligence. It's like an intellectual. So you go into an intellectual debate. You go into an intellectual discussion. But here, you hear, and something happens inside of you. So also in Angulimal, something happened inside of him. The entire past suddenly stunned into silence. He was face to face with divinity. That is ahimsa, power of ahimsa. Even the wildest animal or the wildest of human, the monstrous human, even that person will get calm before anyone who is established into a state of non-hurting. And that is also not going to really do. You may stop not hurting anybody, but that doesn't assure that you are above ego, because your very sense of separation is not yet merged. Your pot is still alive. It is there. You are still a pot, and your water is still the water inside a pot. You are not the ocean, because the pot is yet not broken. What is to break? The dream. The dream that this material world is true, that if anybody appreciates me, loves me, gives me, this is what I think is the right thing to expect. This is a daydreaming. These words that you said, they are basically talked in a state where you are dreaming and talking. Because you are not awake. You are not awakened one. You're not anymore talking from a state where you are one with the universal state. So maybe I'm trying to say certain things which are difficult to understand, but this is what the entire Vedanta of India, entire Upanishadic tradition of India, this is what it has given to us through our Guru and Shishya Parampara. This is what we have learned from our Gurus. It's not how difficult it is. If somebody hurts, to take it, to forbear it, to tolerate it. How difficult it is. Yes, it is difficult. Who said it is very easy? Any spiritual practice, for that matter, is difficult, because you are swimming against the current. When you are a materialistic person trying to selfishly grab and grasp, cling and compete, you have no issues. You have no issues. Go into the world, do it, and you'll find it's such an easy thing to do. Crafts, compete. Things are good. Materialistic world. This is what the law is. And the law of the materialistic world is different, and law of that universal world is different. In this world, everything is dominated by your expanded self, not your contracted selfish one. You need to be happy at the end of the day. But in an universal state, you don't even dream of being happy, because happiness is your natural state. Why should you dream for it? Why do you aspire for it? Why do you even covet for it, desire for it? It's your natural state. Another question that was put that day was, we are talking about violence and non-violence, but when we see that one of the biggest budget of any country of today is defense, where millions of people are recruited to be military personnel, armed forces. We have millions of people recruited in all over the world who are into the police service or in any other services of security or whatever. The question that came to me is very simple, and that is, they have to do a lot of violence because they see is right in front of them, they have to kill somebody. And if they kill, are they going to have bad karma? That was the question. My simple answer is no, no, no. It cannot be a bad karma. If it could be a bad karma, the Lord himself wouldn't have come down to earth and wouldn't have said 700 slokas to Arjuna to get up, take the bow and fight and kill. Kill whom? Not only the number of people in front of him, kill his very own kith and kin, his own guru, because they are standing on the other side, siding with adharma, irreligious part of the universal forces. So when our military forces stand and protect our borders, each one of us sleep a very comfortable, beautiful, sweet dream sleep. But they are awake, cordoning up the thousands of kilometers of borders from all around, because if they sleep, we can't sleep. If they sleep, anyone can sneak into our country, and there could be a huge bomb blast any moment. So they have to be awake. And if they see there is any chance that something is not going to be right, they will instantly kill, and that killing is not a sin. It's rather the duty that a soldier or an officer is supposed to do in order to discharge his duty which has been committed to his motherland. If in your family you find somebody has come and is right in front of you who is trying to steal or kill your mother, your wife, your husband, your child, or anybody, would you stand and watch the whole thing? No. You will definitely try to take your own defense. You will definitely try to protect yourself. You will try to protect your weak ones, your mother, your wife, your children, anybody. This is absolutely beyond any sense. No question of it. Because it is absolutely permitted that for your self-defense you have to be violent. No problem. That's not a sin. To protect your own, you have to use it. So here it is. I started and then I came to a very important thing, and I want to, before I close, I want to once again get back to it. And that is about my concern with large number of people today who are out of sheer deep frustration for what others have done to them. There are millions of child abuses, millions of cases who have been molested, raped, or whatever. They go deep into the psyche. There are many things that happen in human's life where the sense of guilt and shame and sense of fear and pain and agony, one cannot come out of it. It is humanly not possible. It's nice to talk about it and give beautiful counseling or beautiful words. It doesn't work. When it comes to our mind, it just doesn't work.